So yesterday, Bryan Bulaga spoke in Indianapolis, and among the topics he addressed, with more than the "we'll see" on Jair, among the topics was how this team scouts and views offensive linemen. I want you both to listen to what Goody had to say here. I don't think it's earth-shattering, but it is insightful into their mentality. Here's Goody in Indy.
We've always focused on versatility with our offensive linemen, whether it be because of injury or because we have players that leave. We feel really good about the flexibility of our guys to play multiple spots and try to get the best five on the field. So it's always impactful, but at the same time, I feel really good about our group right now.
How versatile were you two? I mean, Bryan Bulaga has admitted publicly that he could not play guard.
Yeah, I could play left tackle and right tackle if that's versatile, I guess. I could do both of those, but I wasn't played anything else but tackle, man, that's for sure. I mean, so, I wasn't very versatile.
And Tausch, there were some who projected you as an NFL guard. You ended up being a right tackle, which you were at Wisconsin. You played some guard in pinches, but would you say that you were versatile?
Yes, I would, because I played.
Pause.
Of course he would.
I played left tackle in the NFL. I played right tackle in the NFL. I played right guard in the NFL. So 3 out of 5. I think that would account for versatility. And I played some center to the chagrin of some quarterbacks in practice. I never could have played center in a game, just for the record. That was not going to be good.
When did you play center in practice?
No,
who was the quarterback who was chagrined?
I wore a sweat jacket a lot when I practiced and long sleeves. And there was a four-time MVP that didn't necessarily appreciate that, and he would only go gun. Typically, when I would go and take snaps with, in pre-practice warm-ups.
He's a complicated fella.
So here's why this is interesting, because when Elton Jenkins went down, they put 2 big, tall, lanky tackle guys at left guard. Both of them inexperienced, both of them not primarily guards, both of them not good enough in a playoff game. So how exactly, and I defer to the two of you, how do you balance, we want guys that are versatile and can play all the positions with, but if they play out of position, they may stink. How do you weigh that?
And Tausch may disagree with me, but I've always kind of been, I've always been a little, maybe I'm a little bit old school with my mentality on this, and maybe, the newer thought of thinking with GMs and how they balance rosters and how they think of things is, I kind of like the mentality of having specialists within the offensive line room. Tackles are tackles, right? You have tackles, they play tackle, and that's what they do. You don't move these guys. That's they don't fit at guard. That's not what they're meant to do. They can't do that, but they are really good out there. There's at times you can move a guard, and if he needed to play tackle for a quarter, maybe he could do it with some help, but you're not going to put him out there for a full game and expect him to do really, really well. It's just not, it's not a good fit, right? It's not something you want to do all the time. I'm not saying that, this isn't rocket science here, but TJ would go out at times because of injury and would play at tackle. I mean, he was not comfortable out at tackle, but you put him at guard and it looks like a completely different player. It's just guys are built for certain positions. Now there are certain, I guess I look around the NFL and there's not many guys that are just masters at every position like Bruce Matthews was. It's just, that doesn't happen, right? That's why he is who he was, right? It just isn't that way. And we look at guys playing in the NFL today. Who does do that? Nobody does. Guys are really, built for certain positions. Yeah, the backup guys have to be able to be versatile. They have to be able to bounce in and out of positions and be able to do that. But within your starting five, right? Like, they got to be good at what they're going in there to do. Like, your guards have to be good guards. Like, your tackles have to be good tackles. Like, if someone gets injured within the starting five, you're not thinking, hey, I'm taking my right tackle and putting him at guard, and then I'm going to taking a backup and put him at right tackle. Like, that can't be the thought process. Like, that's not the way to look at it. Like, you got to think, all right, I'm leaving everyone alone, and then I'm going to bring in my backup guys that should be versatile enough to throw in there at left guard, and we got to be able to get away with it for the rest of the game. But to think we just have a bunch of tackle bodies now and we're going to throw them in there at guard like they did in the playoff game, like, you can't get away with that, because it's just not. We saw how it worked. It can't work, and that's what they're going to have to address.
And Tausch, isn't this what makes Zach Tom and Elton Jenkins special? Is that they are different and they can do all that. Like, getting through a game is one thing. If you lose a guy how many times I hear Campy or offensive coordinators through the years or Big Mike say, well, the one thing you don't want to do is move everybody around, and now you're weaker at multiple positions because you got multiple guys playing out of position. So I love this guy was a college left tackle. We project him as a guard, right? Because most colleges have their best offensive lineman at left tackle. But the idea of having a guy that, like, what is Jordan Morgan, for example? I don't know.
We don't know yet. I mean, that's the thing. We have no idea yet. I mean, I think that's the mystery here, right? Like, that's the mystery piece within this whole thing, right? Like, and that's where for me with this offensive line is kind of, and I told the Homer too, like, I feel good about the offensive line. He's the unknown with this whole thing because we didn't really get to see him much. So, like, if he comes into camp and he looks really good, I feel really good about the offensive line. I feel a lot better about it, whether he's competing at the left tackle position or the left guard position. I feel great about it. But, like, he's the one unknown about it. But, like, say in the playoff game, well, who knows what would have happened, but, like, say he's the guy that comes in at left guard. How does that game look? I'm not saying we win the game, but are we way more productive offensively to give the Eagles an even better game than what it was in the fourth quarter? Potentially. I don't know. But, like, that's kind of where that you got to have guys that are functionally able to handle those things, not just like we got tackles. We think tackles can play guard, but they can't. Like, it's not like if they would have put me in at guard in the playoff games, like my rookie year, I would have gotten killed. Like, I would have cost us games. Like, and I'm not even joking. Like, it's just the truth. Like, I would have cost us games because I am not meant to do that. Like, that's
and you
a
were
bad
a great
idea.
tackle, so it's not like you're a bad player.
Yeah, like, but I'm a liability in there. Like, but that's just being dead honest. So, like, it's not for everyone. Like, not every position's not meant for everybody, and that's just the truth of it.
Well, and it's not only that. I mean, if you can train and figure it out, it is not. I think there's this misconception, and part of it is because Elton is so good that he is one of those guys that you can just rotate down. He is a stud, and when he's healthy, he's as good as there is. He can do that. There's a reason you need those reps to work with the chemistry next to your right guard. That's when you start going next level. When you're bouncing guys around, playing guard and tackle could not be more different. It's not, they're an O-lineman, they'll figure it out. Everything happens like that at guard. And you got strong, quick players. You can't sit back and let stuff happen. You got to go. Tackles, you got to have patience. There's different ways. There's more athleticism, whatever it might be. It is a whole different world. And to expect a young player who hasn't gotten a ton of reps to go in and block the Jalen Carters and these other dudes is setting them up for failure.
And so they failed.
It was unfortunate that Elton got hurt. I think the obvious thing and what I think Green Bay does a great job of is, all right, here's our swing tackle. Here's our interior guy. This is what we're doing. If something happens to our center, Elton goes here, and somebody else that has played inside at least we'll give a fighting chance to get through the week, and then we reevaluate the following week. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. And it's not as easy as just saying, well, Bulaga's a really good athlete. First-round pick. We got to find a spot for him. Well, he's a better tackle than he's a guard. That's the spot. Now, that doesn't mean Bryan, if he's the 6th best lineman or 7th best, he might have to go in a game and just grind through and figure it out. But that's not in the best interest of everybody. So I love the way Goody attacks this. I think his evaluating talent, and I believe one of the key things, and Bryan, I don't know what your 10-yard split was, but I think that is a big part of their evaluation on that. Because it's about getting in and out of your stance. It's about getting. It's not about, I can run a 400. Nobody gives a rip. How fast can I get from point A to point B? And then you get the strength and all of the other stuff that you look at on film, but I think they look heavy at that 10-yard split, and if your numbers aren't where they need to be, you're dropping on their board. And then we get him in, we train him, and we find out, all right, this guy's an athlete enough to do this. Now is he tough enough? Is he strong enough? Can he pass off twist? Is he laterally quick enough to snap it here and get back? Those are the things you're looking for interior, which is completely different than what you're looking for at tackle.
Yeah, 100%. I think 10-yard split, and when you look at when they do those O-line drills, when they get them on when they actually do the positional work, when they do the lateral work, how do they look laterally, right? Like, and I don't mean like the 3-cone drill and all that, because that's a lot of training that goes into just to do a simple drill. I just mean the football work, the lateral football work. How do they look doing that? Like, that to me shows you a lot. Their coordination, how wide is their base and able to move laterally and change direction really quick and operate, in those situations. And I think that shows Green Bay a lot, and they're able to evaluate that really well under the circumstances because they've done it so well over the years. They've been able to find guys that do that really well not just like, I'm not even giving myself an example, but like guys from the later rounds, like yourself included, Corey, Dave, Sitton, TJ, like all these guys that they've found in later rounds that have been able to do it very, very well for a long time, that have built amazing careers off of it. They found them in later rounds based off not just film study and looking at the tape, but like those little measurables that maybe teams look over, and they do it really well. So like that's the thing I think Goody's learned from being with Ted and how Ted's done it, and now he's doing it too. I think he's been able to find these guys like Zach Tom. How many people passed over Zach Tom? He didn't. So like that's the way that's what I'm saying. That's the way I look at it. And I think Sean Ryan's another example. I think he could turn into a really good guard. Like, he got pushed last year, obviously got pushed out of his position early on. I think earned it back. I think he's going to continue to get better. So, like, I think Goody has the right mindset. I just always look at, like, I like versatility. I get it. It is a very, like, it's a very good word in the offensive line room, but you got to have some specialists that do a job really well. Like, that is their job. That is where they are. That is where they stay, and they do it really well. And that's all I'm saying.
Well, Bryan, you do this job really well, and the Packers only have 7 picks right now. Goody said he wants more, and I think that's because he needs to draft multiple offensive linemen, and he's got other holes to fill as well. Bryan, I will talk to you tomorrow on the Homer Hour, and we'll talk to you next week here. Thanks, buddy.
All right, guys. Take care.
That is the great Bryan Bulaga. The 10 o'clock hour starts at 10:22. It's Wilde Tausch.